So, members, I welcome you to this course unit. I'm Ssebuyungo Wilber, Kivekayunga. This course unit is local language, and in local language, there are two words that make up this word local language. There is a word local, and there is another language. So, what is the meaning of the word local? Sorry? It means community. What does the word local mean? Yes. Yes, please. Something yielded within a given area. Yes. Something indigenous. Okay. So we can see that if someone has said yielded within that area, someone is saying it is indigenous. We have had at some instances where people say what is local then is what meaning poor. Means bad. So yes, thank you for that. Now the word local means something originates from within the community. That's where it has been all through, and the communities within our communities. Yes? Okay. So originates from our community and belongs to that community. What of a language? A system of communication used to convey a message. Thank you for that. So a language is a blend of sounds with a meaning to describe things, people, situations, position of things. It's a blend of sound. So when you talk about language, you're actually talking about a blend of sounds. So if you want to know language, you look for what are the sounds of this language. Actually, what we call letters are actually what? They have sounds. Even those with hearing impairments sense those letters in terms of some sounds, which are internal sounds within their hearts. So it is a blend of sounds with a meaning. It is a blend of sounds with a meaning to describe things. We are very careful to say things, not people. And then we say people, because things are not people. To describe things, people, situations, positions, time, and the others. It's language. It means that if you want to develop language, it's possible to develop a new language. what you need is to create the sounds of that language and the meaning attached to that sound. If I come up and write a symbol like that and say that this is how, this one is cow, this one means cow, you'll find people writing it to represent cow, because the language is a representation in another way of the things when people and all that we have talked about. We're representing them. Because when you say cow, yes, what is now the cow? That one. That's why you see someone calls something cup, another one calls it what? Chikopo. What? Chikompe. What's a cup in Lunyoro? Echi, ekikopo. Ekikopo. That's the sound now. Now, if I'm to master that language, I've got to master the sounds of the language. I was there and I wanted to eat rice in Hoima there at Boma Grounds, 2010. And then what we call omchere, you've got to say omcheri. No, so. How is it? Omcheri. You change the sound and then you sound munyoro. But your meaning the very what? Rice. Yes. So now for us, we battle with each other. Now they are calling it mucheri. Now how can you call rice mucheri? We start to fight with each other over the same thing, rice. Now it's munyoro. Now it is mucheri. The Gishus also have some way of calling it. I don't know how it sounded. Okay. Or in Rusoga it's omutiere. Omutiere, not so. Rice, that is omutiere. Fula, maize fula, bando. Not so. Yes, bando. Your meaning is the fula. It's just putting it in another set of sound, sounding the very thing. So, what a local language, that we call it a local language because it has that sound and that way of calling things and that way of speaking originated from within and has been there all that long. So we in this community, which local languages do we have? Lutoro, Ruchiga, Dunyankole, Lusoga, Lukonjo, Luganda, Lufumbira, Luchiga, Lunyarwanda. Okay. So you see that we in this course unit would not want to lift you and take you to Arua. And then say we are going to be teaching there SST, social studies. And then the people in that community have their local languages. Arul, what other? Lugbal. Yes. Delangie, in that area. Then you shouldn't be struggling to teach these people. By learning what we call local language, you should be able to teach in any community that have their own languages. We also have another called national language. In Uganda, do we have a national language? Hmm. What is a national language? So it's the language that unifies all the tribes, okay? All the people. That if it is spoken, most of the people should be able to understand, but national languages are legislated and authorized to be local language through the parliament. Otherwise, people will be fighting against each other to make sure that my language is the national one. Mhm. But now we have Swahili. However, there is also what we call a language of instruction in school. In some countries, the national language is the language of instruction in schools. It is only that in our communities, in Uganda, we belong to colonies. Okay, okay, we were colonized, so we still use the language of the colonial powers that were there before. So it has been affecting even education all through years. So the language, the language of instruction now for this country, Uganda, is what? Is the English language. We call it the English language, not English. English are the people who speak. The people of England are the English. The people of Ireland are Irish. They speak the English, the Irish language. The English speak the English language. So you cannot say I speak English. You're speaking people. Actually, even UNEB used it to make that mistake. But these days they have organized it. The papers come with English language. Earlier on, English. And even the okay. So we have what we call vernacular language. What is vernacular? In, in our years, we used to call it vernacular. Vernacular. What is a vernacular language? Hmm? It is a local language. The word is called local one. So, what is vernacular? Sorry? Mother? Language. Someone is saying mother language. There's someone who told me that vernacular means a prohibited language. A language prohibited from being used in a community. That when you use it, you are wrong. You are denied to use it. Like in schools, people who speak some local languages, they are they are given a bone which they hang in their necks to humiliate them, not to discourage them from using the language in school. So a vernacular language is a language which is commonly spoken in an area. That if you speak this language, almost everybody will hear it or will understand what you're saying. It is the vernacular language. Possibly, maybe people in Western Uganda. When someone speaks Runyankole Lukiga, is it? Ruhororo. Uh-huh. Possibly, maybe if that's the language, because I know little of what is here. But when you inform me, I learn that. So that language that that they can speak, and almost everyone in that community can hear what you're saying, is a vernacular language. It is or in other words, it's a common language. So you find that in some of the events, when people have gathered from various communities, you select and say, let me use this language. That's what most people will understand and get me. So in this course unit, we intend that you learn to use the local language of the community where you are, where you've gone for work, and also not to discourage those people who are using the local language, their local languages, but use the local language to facilitate your teaching. And actually, some people thought earlier that teaching means English language. That if there is no English language, then there is no learning. There is no being skilled. That for you to show that you are skilled, then possibly you should know the local language. Okay, you should be speaking the what? The English language for the case of Uganda. But the Chinese study in Chinese. The French study in the French language. So it is not about language, it's about knowledge, skills, and the values. So one of how do we develop the local language? The first step you take is identify and recognize the local languages in the communities. Like the ones you've mentioned, those ones you should identify them and know in whichever community you go, there are some local languages there. Identify and recognize the local languages in communities. So here there is no socket at all. Oh, great. There is no socket. Okay. Then appreciate those local languages. If you don't appreciate, they depreciate. Because that is the contrary of appreciation. There is either appreciation or depreciation. So you cannot say that language sounds bad. That's what people are quarreling. Hmm? So learn the alphabet of the language and the corresponding sounds of that alphabet. And the corresponding sounds of that language.